So Paul Feig is making the rounds again, talking Ghostbusters 2016. Now, the other day, what was funny is he put out some tweets, trying to piggyback on the Snyder cut of Justice League, saying, "Well, I have a Feig cut of Ghostbusters 2016. How about I make that? We got 3.5 hours of goodness." Which I think you should only force your worst. I don't even know if I would force my worst enemies to watch 3.5 hours of Ghostbusters 2016. It should be a crime to force people to watch that movie. But he won't stop. I wondered, as did some other people, if maybe Paul was trolling, just having some fun. No, him talking like this, like I'm going to show you in these two articles, leads me to believe that he was absolutely serious. He's still very resentful and blames anybody but himself for that movie failing, which is kind of humorous. So he's still going on about it, blaming the election, blaming the Orange Man, blaming racists, all that stuff. He won't let it go. It's his usual playbook. Like I said in my previous video, I think this movie is significant because this movie really did mark the first time that fans were attacked over something. And it kind of, I think, started the whole istaphobe thing where, hey, you don't want to see this movie. You hate ladies. You hate people that are different because you didn't want to go see a stupid movie that should have never been made. This is really the turning point to when Hollywood decided it was okay to attack fans. That's what really makes this movie significant. We got some quotes here, though, from some of his interviews from Society Reviews, and they're quite exceptional. He says it right here, who is to blame this time? Of course, Orange Man bad voters. I think some very brilliant author needs to write a book about 2016 and how intertwined we were with Hillary and the anti-Hillary movement, he said. Everyone was at a boiling point. I don't know if it was having an African-American president for 8 years that teed them up, or they were just ready to explode. It's crazy how people go nuts about women trying to be in power or be in positions they weren't normally in. He added of the film's release, it was an ugly, ugly year. Now, what I find funny, here we go again, right here, exist, and then right here, racist. Oh, you were tired of that old Obama. That's why you didn't like the film. Really stupid opinions, blaming everybody but himself. I think he has a quote here. I think it's in the other article, and we're about to go to that one in a second. The film lost between $50 to $75 million, and he also had about, I think, $30 to $40 million in reshoots. The film was a gigantic disaster. All right, it never needed to be made in the first place. Honestly, you don't need to remake Ghostbusters. Why don't you just re-release that movie in the theaters? That movie is really a masterpiece of filmmaking, but we're not going to get into that. There's other videos that have already discussed that, and they're all absolutely correct. That film is about as near perfect as you can get when it comes to making a comedy. But, hey, what haven't we seen yet? Ghostbusters with women. Let's make it. Greenlit. That seems to be the way they do things in Hollywood now. So we have some more on that interview. We're going to hop over here. So here's Paul next to his Ecto 1. So here's a little bit more. Here's the same quotes right here that we just went over. Where he's calling everybody a racist and an exist because they didn't want an all-female reboot of a movie that never needed to be remade in the first place. I guess this is on a Sirius XM show. I don't know if they have the whole interview here or not. Sirius XM is a subscription service. I have it in one of my cars. I think Sirius XM is kind of overrated somewhat. I think the only thing really keeping them going is probably Howard Stern. Is there really much else on Sirius XM? Just have it because it's cheap. I always just call them and say I want to cancel unless they give me a deal. And they always knock it down to like $5 a month, which I don't think is too bad. $5 a month just to have it. But, what else do they have besides that? I just think it's nice because you can travel everywhere and not have to worry about, losing like an FM signal. Because I don't always feel like messing around with Pandora or my Amazon Music or anything like that. So sometimes it's just nice to put on. But anyway, he's been going over these. He's been doing these hot takes forever. So Feig also discussed Trump's 2015 triad against the movie, where he slammed it for having only women. By the time I announced I was going to do it, he explained, referring to the internet backlash. So he blames the orange man now. So his voters and him, these are the reasons the movie failed now. I really don't think that, because I remember when he said these things about the film, said, why's the film only got women? That's really not enough for this movie to have failed. But see, the problem is, Paul looks at everything but himself. He never looks inside himself and says, okay, maybe some of the things I did here caused this movie to fail. It's never him. It's always you. You stupid man, you. So, nice thing about this article right here, too, is that they include some of the reasoning why this movie actually failed. It wasn't just sexist men. The first trailer for all-female reboot became one of the most hated movie trailers in YouTube history, with dislikes overwhelmingly outnumbering the likes, which is true. That movie really just got downvoted into oblivion. Wig, who played Aaron Gilbert in the movie, said at the time that she was surprised by the controversy, while Jones, who played Patty Tolan, quit Twitter for a period to escape the racist and sexist attacks she was getting following the release of Ghostbusters. I don't know if that was true or not. I wasn't really making content when this movie came out, so I'm not sure how true that is. I'm going to press X to doubt on some of that, because a lot of the time, what Hollywood stars will do is they'll exaggerate. I can really look at the Rose Tico situation, where a lot of the evidence pointed to her just getting off of social media. But of course, because, everyone hates The Last Jedi, and the media, of course, is going to shill hard for it, it was pretty much debunked that was true. So naturally, someone leaving, that's going to get them a lot of attention, a lot of press, and they're going to spin it however they're going to spin it. Here's the big reason, though, right here. Dan Aykroyd, star of the original two Ghostbusters, said he blames director Feig entirely for the 2016 version's failure. Speaking on Channel 4's Sunday Brunch, the actor said the director spent too much time on it and didn't shoot scenes we suggested to him. Several scenes that were going to be needed, he said, no, we don't need them. And then we tested the movie and they needed them. He had to go back about 30 to 40 million in reshoots. And then, of course, right here, another Ghostbusters reboot, Ghostbusters 2020, is to be released next year and will be directed by Jason Reitman. And that is, of course, going to be a movie that follows the original timeline and is doing its damnedest to please fans, which I have a lot more confidence in that movie. Gotta say, it doesn't look like much of a comedy. Looks like it's kind of like a serious thriller type of movie. Will it be like that? I don't know. It could be funny. I don't think it matters if there's comedy in it or not. It just needs to be good. Just because the original was a comedy doesn't mean that this one needs to be. They can take a serious route with it. It'd be an interesting turn, and it kind of looks like they're going to do that, but we'll see. I think it'll have some jokes in it. I just want it to be good, and I want it to respect the fans that love this movie, because this movie Ghostbusters is a timeless movie that will last at least as long as the human race is watching films. I think as long as we're around and we're watching movies, that film is going to be watched forever because it's just so good. Like I said, I think it's about as close to a masterpiece as you can get. This is why people didn't like 2016. The film didn't need to be remade in the first place, and it was kind of insulting to the original. You can't remake that movie and make it better. A remake or a reboot or whatever should be better than the original. A reboot, maybe not so much, especially if it's a soft reboot like I think Afterlife is going to be. That's a little bit different, but a remake, if you're going to remake a movie, it needs to be a better movie than the original. This was not a better movie. This was people sitting around in a boardroom saying, how do we make this film? Oh, let's put women in it. Let's just make it all women reboot. That's what's going to make this movie a hit. This is why people are going to like it. And there you go, right there. It was lazy. It was incredibly lazy. It was stupid, and it was a dumb idea. And you got what you deserved for making it. You got a dud that lost tons of money. And the funny thing is Hollywood doesn't learn from this at all. They keep doing it. They keep doing it. Every year, multiple remakes are announced where they're just taking a property. We'll do all women. Disney they're talking about doing an all-female Pirates of the Caribbean. Why? Why can't you just do a normal movie and cast talent as you need the talent and stop trying to push these movies for these agendas? It's so strange. I expect it to stop. It has to stop. You know why? Because they've lost so much money this year in entertainment. I don't think they're going to have a choice. These little pet projects, these little woke movies, they're going to have to stop. They're going to have to stop. They don't have a choice or they're going to go broke. Finally, they will go broke. Especially Disney, because they're taking billion-dollar loan after billion-dollar loan right now. They don't have much money left to spend on stupid ideas like this. So, and they didn't make this. This is a Sony project. I'm just saying. Sony or Disney's doing really bad right now. So to be funny, and I think this is one of the reasons why I think they're not going to move forward with that, because if you remember with the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, like literally 2 days after that was announced, they said, whoa, hold on. We see the backlash. We're not sure if we're going to go that route. And now there's talks that maybe Johnny Depp is going to at least be involved in it in some capacity, and then there's going to be a movie after that where they all team up. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but why do you even need to wait for backlash? You should know that no one's going to want to see that. Anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. Give me your thoughts on this. What do you think about all this? If you would, also please throw a like up, share the video, make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.